Now on CoastTV News.
A change in plans. Some of Milton's biggest events are moving off the usual path this year. We'll tell you which ones and why. Back to referendum, what the Indian River School District is asking for round 2. And back-to-back the Pride Fest and Zombie Fest have been held in previous years. You can see some past video there on your screen. This year, though, things are going to look a bit different. The Pride Fest will be off of the downtown streets and confined to the outside property of the Milton Theater. Zombie Fest is moving to Hudson Fields. And CoastTV News reporter Brendan Conroy was in Milton today to learn more. As he shows us, the Milton Theater says they had no choice but to make these changes.
Both Pride Fest and Zombie Fest will still go on, but according to the theater's director of operations, J.C. Brittingham, she says they had asked the town for an invoice up front, but did not receive them. Still, she says these events will happen with the same energy as previous years.
Making the most out of a little bump in the road.
It wasn't an option for us not to do Pride. It's also not an option for us to not do Zombie Fest.
That's the Milton Theater's mission following changes to some of the events in town. While Pride Fest and Zombie Fest are still on schedule like normal, location and size will be different from years prior.
We put our heart and soul into every single thing that we do here, and we want to make sure that we are still doing these events for the community.
Dough Bar owner Kristen Latham tells CoastTV they look forward to these events every year to see both new and returning faces. These changes have her worried about profits.
We're a small town. You know, we've had a lot of businesses in this town, and we thrive when our town thrives. When our town is busy, we're busy.
We spoke with Milton's mayor, and he says he can't speak as to why the theater is moving events outside of the downtown area or what costs have to do with the decision.
John Groves lives right around the corner in Lewis and is a longtime member of the Milton Theater. He says he knows things happen and plans can change, but wishes these events never did.
I can see the pros and cons, certainly, but Milton is a nice small town. It has a lot of character, and there's a little bit of tradition there, so it's kind of sad to see that disrupted. It would really be nice if they could figure out a way to keep the tradition alive.
A slight change to the location, but not the tradition. In Milton, Brendan Conroy, CoastTV News.
And another Milton event, the Horseshoe Crab and Shorebird Festival, completely canceled this year. And the Milton Chamber of Commerce said rising costs and other logistical factors made it too difficult to organize. We're taking a live look outside now into Ocean City on this rainy night. And our first alert chief meteorologist Paul Williams is going to join us for a check on the weather. Paul, is it going to dry up soon?
No, not soon, but it will eventually dry up for us as we progress throughout the weekend. In fact, it should cut off sometime for tomorrow morning, but as of right now, we're still actively tracking the rain. We have nearly 1.25 inches at our official site in Georgetown, just shy of 1 inch for us actually in Ocean City, and just shy of 1.5 inches officially actually in Salisbury. Here's some of the other areas we've been tracking. 1 3/4 for us in Seaford, close to that actually in Laurel. Lewis over 1.5 inches, 1.5 inches even for us in Dagsboro. Stockley and Harbison 1.44, 1.43 for Del Mar and Greenwood. A couple of other locations 1.42 in Slaughter Beach, 1.41 Prime Hook. Milford and Dellendale 1 1/4, and just over 1 inch for us in Jones Crossroads and Rehoboth Beach, and 3/4 inch officially for us right now Bethany Beach. We're still tracking more rain that's on the way, but at least it's not stormy. But we will need to talk about some things that will be shifting dramatically over the weekend, Christina.
All right, thank you, Paul. We'll check back in with you in a bit. Well, a controversial development with years of debate has been shot down by the Supreme Court of Delaware. The decision puts an end to the proposed Stillwater Harbor. It was supposed to be a 120-home development on 57 acres off of River Road in Oak Orchard. The project was ultimately denied by the Sussex County Planning and Zoning Commission in June 2023. The commission determined that the development would pose safety risks regarding flooding in the area. Developers appealed that denial of the preliminary plans in October 2023. The attorney for the developer claiming their rejection was based on concerns that were not spelled out in the Delaware State Code. And this story brings us to our CoastTV poll tonight. We want to know, what do you think about this? Who should have the final say on development projects? Let's take a look at the results, see what you all think. 61%, this has been the most popular answer all day. Landowners should have the final say. 20% though say neighbors. 16% with elected officials, just 3% saying the courts. We want to know what you think though, and you can still vote. You just go over to CoastTV.com or use our mobile app. Well, most of South Bethany taxpayers are going to have to pay a bit more. At today's town council meeting, council technically decreased its tax rate, but due to recent county reassessments, people will be paying more. The town says a majority of homeowners will pay an extra $100 to $500 on their bills. Town leaders saying they'll be able to collect around 50% more tax revenue than before.
50% seems a little excessive, but I know the community has a lot of needs, so, it's going to hurt some people. Most of these people can afford it, but, there are a lot of needs. We have a lot of flooding, a lot of, roads that need to be raised.
And the South Bethany Council decided to keep the rental tax rate the same at 8%. Moving on, over the past week, we have talked to people who sell everything from coffee to appliances to furniture, even video games, all feeling at least some impact from the newly imposed tariffs. Now, a new home improvement project could take a sledgehammer to your savings. Henlopen Countertops says a lot of the quality stones that make up their counters are naturally made in Brazil, Italy, and other places overseas, and even the tools they use come from China.
I think it could have a big impact. So the reason it is because if the contractor's prices are high, then of course they have to pass it on to the customers. And so there's no way not to pass it on, because it's just a huge expense.
And we spoke with several lumber companies who say their lumber won't be hurt as much as their steel beams and metals that come from China. Well, new today, the Indian River School District will hold its second current expense referendum on June 5th. They're asking voters to approve $22.5 million in additional funding to cover rising costs and maintain competitive salaries for staff. The March 20th referendum was shot down. And sticking with education news, whether it's texting, scrolling, snapping a selfie, phones in schools have become a familiar sight. Well, now a new bill, Senate Bill 106, would require all public and charter schools in Delaware to implement a clear cell phone policy that limits phone use in classrooms. The bill's sponsor says the goal is to reduce distractions and improve student engagement. If this is approved, schools would need to create rules by August 1st. One high school principal says cell phone use is hurting students' ability to learn.
And cell phones have really changed the name of the game for the students and for the staff, but it can be a very distracting piece of equipment.
Now, some critics call the bill government overreach, but the sponsor says local districts will have the freedom to create their own policies. Well, the Cambridge Police Department will have some new eyes in the sky as they launched a new program to help with enforcement. Officers will now fly drones to be prepared for any situation. 5 officers have been certified to fly the 2 drones, one being for outdoors.
So there's things like canine apprehensions, fleeing suspects, large crowds, things for dirt bikes. We have issues with dirt bikes in our city. We're gonna make that a big issue.
And officers say in the event of a barricade situation, an indoor drone can use infrared technology. They say it can cut through glass, make its way into a residence, and even map out a residence. Well, in national news today, the Federal Aviation Administration and National Transportation Safety Board are investigating the cause of a deadly small plane crash in Florida this morning. It's the second fatal aircraft crash in the U.S. in less than 24 hours. Colin Jeffrey reports from Atlanta with the latest developments.
3 souls on board, and we can confirm those were all fatalities.
A tragic scene just outside of the Boca Raton Airport in Florida Friday morning. A twin-engine Cessna 310 went down along a busy street and erupted into a fireball, killing the 3 people on board and injuring a driver on the ground.
He hit a tree because of all the debris and the fire.
The Federal Aviation Administration and National Transportation Safety Board are now handling the investigation in Florida as they also work to determine what caused the helicopter to crash into the Hudson River that separates New York City from New Jersey, killing 6 people on Thursday. 3 of those victims were children.
I want to extend on behalf of the entire NTSB our deepest condolences to those who lost loved ones in this tragic event.
Investigators gave an update near the scene Friday afternoon.
We have a lot of information, but we do not speculate. We need to confirm information. That is a process that takes time.
FAA records show that the Bell Long Ranger model had an airworthiness certificate valid through 2029. Federal authorities previously investigated the company operating the helicopter for their involvement in 2 prior safety incidents, one in 2013, another in 2015. Maintenance records are not made public, and the NTSB restricts what companies can disclose during an ongoing investigation. Reporting in Atlanta, I'm Colin Jeffrey.
And we are just getting started this evening. Still a lot more news ahead. Coming up, an announcement from Amazon's CEO about tariffs and how customers could feel the impact through higher prices. But first, it is Friday, so of course we'll have all the cool things to do coming up next.
And if we take a look at our Bay forecast, we see scattered showers right now throughout a good portion of the Bay forecast area. Widespread rain will begin to come to an eventual end. Your full forecast is just around the corner.
Do you say lower, slower Delaware or slower, lower Delaware? Well, no matter what you say, it's time to celebrate the best of Southern Delaware, and you can head to Salted Vines Vineyard this Sunday for the Lower Slower Festival. You can expect live music, food trucks, shopping, and of course, plenty of wine. In Rehoboth Beach, Women's Plus Fest runs all weekend long. It's hosted by Camp Rehoboth. Entertainment, sports, comedy, and music are all on the agenda for this 4-day event. Indian River alumni will want to head to the Frankfurt Volunteer Fire Company Saturday night for the 10th annual Beef and Brew fundraiser. There's going to be all-you-can-eat food, a cornhole competition, plus the graduating class with the most members in attendance will win a trophy. The Lewis Tulip celebration continues with walking tours this weekend. History in Bloom offers 3 tours on Saturday morning and afternoon. And the Easter Bunny is making a few stops across the coast ahead of Easter next Sunday. The Easter Festival will be at Sussex Central High School Saturday from 11 to 4, and there's also an Easter scavenger hunt in downtown Milford Saturday morning. For event details, tickets, and more, just head over to CoastTV.com and click on Cool Things to Do.
We have active showers right now sticking around at least until the early morning hours, and perhaps some hit and miss spot sprinkles for early Saturday morning. But aside from that, we're expecting cloudy conditions, a bit of drizzle, a bit of light sprinkler here or there. That's pretty much what we're expecting Saturday and most of Sunday. Now, our Hershey's exterior camera, we're expected to stay in the mid-40s for us in Ocean City. The rain is already beginning to kind of subside a little bit there at this point. We've had 0.83, shy of 1 inch of rain in Ocean City. Just shy of 1.25 inches at our official site in Georgetown. And we had just shy of actually 1.5 inches in Salisbury. Here's the latest look at the rain right now. We're starting to see it break up a bit for us near Ocean View, Fenwick Island, still sticking with some scattered light rain in Selbyville as well as Gumboro and in the Lewis and Milton, Milford area. Most of it is moving to the north. We take a look over towards Polk Roads, P Hill, and over towards Lakewood, Cokeland. We had some scattered showers there. And we see it kind of rotating right in and around the eastern and the Cambridge area for right now. The most intense cells are well to our north, up towards Dover and north of Dover, although we have the general rotation that's happening, and that's associated with the low pressure system that's controlling this as a driving force. But this is moving more directly out to water or out to sea, or out the ocean, to be more exact, right? Out the ocean. And so it's going to drag the more intense cells more to us and then curl and pull on out of the way. Temperatures are right now in the 40s, 44 degrees for Seaford as well as in Georgetown, 46 right now in Ocean Pines, 45 in Milton. And we have the winds right now pouring out of the northeast at about 40 mile per hour gusts for us in Indian River Inlet, 26 mile per hour gusts being recorded for us in Georgetown. Now we do have concerns for winds still staying a little bit on the blustery side with a small craft advisory that's active until Sunday at 6 o'clock in the morning for Dewey Beach, Bottom Hills, Long Neck, Ocean View, Fenwick Island. Now, also for Ocean City, all the way down towards Chincoteague, same concern for about 25-mile-per-hour winds, and that same concern is actually being raised for us over towards Cambridge as well as Andrews throughout a good portion of the coastal region of the Delmarva Peninsula. So we could see another development of some scattered showers towards Easton and Chestertown. But for the most part, it looks like most of this is going to be moving to the north. This is our forecasting model, not our actual live radar. So at 6 o'clock in the morning, we may have some scattered showers up towards Dover, light sprinkles over along Highway 9 and 13. But we're looking at light sprinkles, worst case scenario, and then most of that should be getting out of the way. So throughout the day, we should see the rain come to an end, at least by lunchtime, with temperatures in the 40s with the drizzle. The main concern for us most of Saturday with just drizzle. And as we go forward, we anticipate Sunday, we start off cloudy at 7 o'clock in the morning, and then by 3 o'clock, we start seeing a break in the cloud cover for us. Now, as far as the amount of rain, we're expecting any additional rain, maybe 1/10 of an inch more, but most of the rain is over with for the most part. And the most southern portion of our viewing area, same thing, in the 40s up to the upper 50s for us on Sunday, but we'll see breaks in the skyline with all that out of the way by then. And the winds will be coming to a quick end. Tonight, 40 degrees, 47 for tomorrow, 59 for Sunday with improving conditions. And here's a look at your extended forecast.
Paul Williams, thank you for the forecast. Well, immigrant rights groups are asking a judge to block the IRS from turning over sensitive information about undocumented taxpayers. On Monday, the Trump administration announced the Internal Revenue Service could share that information with ICE. The plaintiffs say federal law requires a court order for the IRS to share that data. The agency is allowed to share taxpayer information for use in criminal investigations. The suing groups argue that only applies to individualized requests and not bulk data requests. In business news, Amazon CEO says shoppers can likely expect some prices to rise due to the ongoing global trade war. The online retailer's network of third-party sellers will pass that cost on to consumers. Well, in regional news, a family in Maryland is desperate for answers after their 6-year-old son was found dead on the beach during their vacation to the Bahamas. Police there say the young man drowned, but the family worries there may have been foul play. Jessica Albert spoke with the victim's family and friends.
A recording studio, a little quieter.
It just broke down, honestly. He was really young, and it's just devastating.
Location Studios in Brentwood, Maryland lost one of its talented audio engineers, Denari McAlmont. His coworker, Oliver Franklin, says McAlmont worked there for the last year, producing music.
But in that year, he was somebody that, I talked to him every day. He was always obviously in the studio, and it was just crushing.
McAlmont and his parents live in Bowie. They flew to the Bahamas for vacation Friday. Less than a day into the trip, his aunt tells News 4 the 23-year-old was found dead on the beach near his resort, Atlantis, Bahamas. We spoke with her by phone.
We don't have answers. We don't really know, but it's very frustrating. Seems as though everything is being pushed under the rug.
Bahamian police say an autopsy showed McAlmont drowned. They do not suspect foul play, but his family has questions. The police told them there was some type of issue at a restaurant before McAlmont's body was found.
They said he spat on someone and ran through a door.
And McAlmont's aunt says his mother told her when she went to see his body, authorities would only show her a photo. She said it looked like McAlmont had been beaten. They also question why no surveillance video has been released.
But we're just here in the dark. We really need some help, some eyewitness, somebody to come forward and help us to just solve this puzzle.
We reached out to the resort to help them get some answers. They sent us a statement saying, "We are deeply saddened by the passing of one of our guests. Our condolences are with the guest's family and loved ones during this difficult time. The police authorities are carrying out an investigation of this tragic incident. We await the police's findings and will not comment on speculation."
Also in Maryland, a federal judge has ordered the Trump administration to provide her with daily updates on how the government is working to secure the return of a Maryland man mistakenly deported last month. Kilmar Abrego Garcia was deported to El Salvador on March 15th despite a court order. During a hearing on Friday, his attorney said the Justice Department is stonewalling.
The government refused to provide any of those pieces of information that the judge ordered them to provide. They even refused to answer the question about what they've done so far, and they even refused to answer the question about where Kilmer Abrego Garcia is today.
And the federal judge says the court-ordered daily updates must come in the form of a sworn statement from an individual with personal knowledge of this situation. Coming up in sports tonight, in tonight's edition, a player profile, an 8th grader has his sights set on helping the Stephen Decatur basketball team soar next season. And coming up, a measles vaccine warning for those born in the mid-60s. Stay with us.
Here's a look at your golf forecast. We're expecting for conditions not so great, to be quite honest. We're looking for gray, damp, spotty showers, drizzle, 45, kind of cold and breezy. Nah, just wait till Sunday.
This is CoastTV News at 11.
As measles cases continue to spread nationwide, there is now concern that some people born in the late 1960s may not have full immunity from the measles, even if they received the MMR vaccination. And as Emma Bratt explains, the vaccine given to people born between 1963 and 1967 may not be as effective.
People with both doses of the MMR vaccine have about a 97% immunity to the measles. But if you were born between 1963 and 1967, your measles vaccine may not be up to par. This is because the vaccine was based on something called a killed virus, which was rendered inactive.
They do have some immunity, so it's not like they're walking around, without any antibodies. We just know that the vaccine from the killed virus was not as effective.
Because of this, people who received the killed vaccine are eligible for a booster shot from their physician.
For people that don't know if they're, born, let's say, before 1967 and they're not sure if they had measles or what their vaccine status is, the first thing we always recommend is to try to find your vaccine records. It's something that everybody should know where they are and be able to find them. So if you're able to find them, look through and see what measles vaccine you got, if any.
All vaccines in 1967 and after are based on the live virus, making the vaccine extremely effective. Dr. Erica Kaufman-West says she doesn't typically suggest that adults get a booster, but it's usually recommended when people are in high-risk areas where there's already an outbreak, or if they work in schools or in healthcare.
Delmarva Sports Network from the Wawa Studios.
What's going on, sports fans? An 8th grader from Berlin is hoping to lift the Stephen Decatur basketball team even higher next season. We head to Berlin, Maryland at the Athlete Academy Training Facility with DSN's Michelle Roberts.
In spring 2023, Michael Winden began his journey at the Athlete Academy in Berlin.
It was the first time I've ever actually been in a gym whatsoever, and my friend got me into it. So it was definitely a new experience for me, and all the people were just so nice and friendly, just kept coming and coming, and overall, just been sticking with it.
The now 8th grader at Most Blessed Sacrament Catholic School says training at the Athlete Academy has helped him perform on the basketball court.
It's really helped with my endurance and sprint speed, being able to last all 4 quarters. Like, it'll help me in the weight room. Like, it'll get my squat up, my vertical jump up, which it has. I was at 16 inches when I started. Now I'm at 31 to 32 inches high. So it really just helps with that. My lung capacity has gotten larger.
Michael also has his sights set on high school basketball.
My plan is to just play basketball at Decatur. If I somehow get noticed by College Scout, go to college. Obviously, if you go to college, you want to go to the NBA.
Reporting from Berlin, Maryland for the Delmarva Sports Network, I'm Michelle Roberts.
Michelle.
The Mare Institute rescued a young gray seal on Thursday. They say the seal had been very lively, moving around on the beach, but he seemed to be in good condition but was having some breathing problems. He was brought back to the Mare facility for triage, and they said he has a number of parasites and was a bit dehydrated. After he gets a little bit stronger, he will be transported to the National Marine Life Center on Cape Cod for further rehabilitation.
Our Irish Eyes camera, Lewis, we're at 46 degrees. Winds are now still a bit on the blustery side at 19 miles per hour. We're going to see a few sprinkles continuing at least till about the early morning hours. Then it'll begin to break up for us quickly. By the way, Barbara Harding of Georgetown, you're our winner, courtesy of Paul Davis Restoration to Home Remodeling with our umbrella giveaway. You got to come by the station and pick it up, though. Remember that. We're taking a look at we're anticipating it continuing to stay very clear for us as far as this day is concerned. And we anticipate that, generally speaking, we are going to see scattered showers begin to push throughout the area. Now, if you want to keep up with what's happening with your forecast, you can simply call our weather line, 443-880-9100, sponsored by Bruxett, Mandelis, and Federico. And finally, here's a look at your extended forecast.
All right, thank you again, Paul, and thanks for joining us for Coast TV News at 11 on this Friday night. For some more local news and local weather, you can always download our Coast TV News app. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon is up next, and we'll see you tomorrow for Coast TV News at 6 p.m. and 11 p.m. Have a great night.